I think Steve Bannon as a new contributor on the show should be an ongoing. So as you can hear there, Steve's in tough shape. And it's amazing, like the rats from a sinking ship. Perrine and I actually, we talked about this, and I talked about in the opening commentary on my show on Tuesday. Bannon is in a lineage of Pat Buchanan. And the distinction with Pat Buchanan, Bannon is somewhere in between Andrew Breitbart and Pat Buchanan. And Pat Buchanan is an intellectual architect and carried the torch for far-right, xenophobic, reactionary politics of a distinct variety that Bannon picked up, but without, and I'm, please be clear that obviously Pat Buchanan is contemptible politically, but he is a different order than a Steve Bannon. I mean, Pat Buchanan is a very well-read, very kind of erudite political operator. Bannon brands himself that way, and he's got some savvy, but this is not a brilliant guy. And he is a fusion of Buchanan and a complete just tabloid corporate bagman hack, which was all Andrew Breitbart was. And so Bannonism as a personal project, I have no doubt is going to fizzle away because he doesn't have like a real infrastructure. But the politics that he put in place and the politics that got Trump to the presidency does have a lasting point, because the only people that aren't ultra wealthy that will vote for right-wing politics are going to do it on white identity issues. So here's a classic example of this. Kelli Ward, who is now one of two absolutely deranged and demented candidates for the Republican Senate primary in Arizona, along with Joe Arpaio. I think Kelli Ward has probably harmed significantly fewer people personally than Joe Arpaio, but of course she'll go into the Senate and do everything she can to harm America and the world.
She's younger. She's got a lot more upside.
She's got a lot more upside. I see a lot of youth and a lot of crazy. I like what I see. So here is Kelli Ward, who is, of course, a Bannon project. She's open to chemtrails. I mean, whatever. She's exactly what you'd expect of today's Republican Party. And here she is, a singular rat on a sinking ship, scurrying away from Steve Bannon. And if you're watching this, you'll see a very funny B-roll. If you're listening, I'll explain it. There's B-roll will essentially, I'm not spoiling anything that in this clip, she's going to essentially say that she barely knows Steve Bannon. And, of course, there's B-roll of them happily campaigning together. Here she is on CNN with Allison Camerata.
Trump. Last question. Do you expect an endorsement from President Trump?
I've gotten so many amazing endorsements. I'm so proud to have Senator Rand Paul on my team. I've also had endorsements from people like Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and Mark Bannon, conservative stalwarts. And, Steve Bannon, I don't know that I actually really got a full endorsement from Steve.
Oh, I think you were his candidate.
No, actually, I think that my message resonated with the things that Donald Trump said on the campaign trail. The America First agenda that actually began way back in 2010
I hear you,
with the Tea Party movement.
But Dr. Ward, I'm only looking at your press release. Hold on one second. I'm only looking at your press release where you say Ward has received national endorsements from Rand Paul, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Dick Morris, and Steve Bannon. So that's where I'm getting my information.
Yes. Yes, but he was never part of my campaign. He was never an advisor. He's not somebody that I reach out and talk to in any way, shape, or form. So it's funny that you and especially the establishment would love to tie me to Steve Bannon. But
your press release ties you to Steve Bannon. But why are you distancing yourself now from Steve Bannon?
I am distancing myself from Steve Bannon. He's made some significant mistakes, significant gaffes that are unacceptable to me. I support the president. I support the president's family, and I support the will of the American people and the people of Arizona who want the America First policies to be put in place.
Kelli, bitch. That's Bannon's response. But I think it's a great example, though. In this administration particularly, the drama and the gossip is relevant because it's a drama and gossip administration. So that's why a guy like Mike Wolfe is the best person to understand it. But, the structural point here is that, sure, Steve Bannon bit off way more than he could chew. He's gone for now. Maybe the best case scenario with him is that instead of trying to wage a comeback, he tries to wage a vendetta and a campaign of revenge, which would be great. But all of the toxicity, conspiracy theories, bigotry, magical thinking, xenophobia, and nonsense that he built out with the funding of the Mercers, that is the Republican Party. So if we wanted to do him the sort of false honor of calling it Bannonism, we could just easily call it Republicanism. It ain't going anywhere, even if he's, giving himself more jacuzzi time.
Yeah, Breitbart still exists.
Exactly.
It's funny, the gaffes, I think we're sort of over gaffes as like a word and a thing, right?
Yeah.
I think Trump, the 2016 really killed that.
Total gaffes.
Nobody talks
Steve
about
Bannon's
gaffes
a gaff machine. Hey, look at the retired kid in my campaign rally. What? That's what I meant to say. I never said that.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos